Intention forms by noticing what shapes it. Good morning, my name is Jell, and this is my 7-word statement. A lot of time, thoughts don't feel like choices. They just show up. You say something or agree with something, and it feels completely normal. There's no reason to question it. There's no moment where you stop and think, I'm choosing this thought. It just feels like it's already there. And that makes it easy to assume that those thoughts are completely your own. Something that feels internal. Something that hasn't really been affected by anything else. But the more I thought about it, the less true that felt. And not in a big or dramatic way, but just small things, like having an opinion but not really knowing why, or agreeing with something just because it feels right. And that's when the question started to change. Instead of asking, is this my thought? It became more like, what made me think this way? And once that question shows up, it changes how everything else is seen. In the self-determination theory, behavior isn't just about what people want. It's a mix of internal values and external influence. For example, what people around you think, what you hear, what you see, and what gets repeated. All that shapes how decisions are made. And the thing is, sometimes influence doesn't even feel external. That means sometimes it can feel like your own opinion, even if it's based off of something else. But the theory doesn't say that means people have no control. It's just a different kind of control. It doesn't mean that you should not have any influence at all. But it's more like understanding what is influencing you. Part of this is called introspection. And introspection means to think about your own thinking. Like, for example, asking yourself, why do I believe this? And without that, most decisions feel automatic. And if something feels right, you'll do that. But when you think about it, things might feel less obvious. The theory doesn't say to not be influenced, but it says that influence will always be there, but the difference is whether you notice it or not. An idea connected to this is called social conformity. Social conformity is the idea that people naturally tend to adjust their behavior based on the people they are with. And sometimes people do this on purpose, but mostly they don't even notice they're doing it. An example of this idea is the Ash conformity experiment. In this experiment, there was a group of people, and they were asked questions with very obvious answers, like this one, for example. And a few people from the group intentionally gave the wrong answers, which then led to the rest of the people in the group also giving the wrong answers, not because they believed it was correct, but because being surrounded by the same answers made them change their response. This experiment shows how strongly people are affected by the environment they're in, even in a situation where the answers seem very obvious. Now, in normal daily life, influences are much less noticeable than in the experiment. It's not always direct pressure, but sometimes it's just repetition. If an idea is seen so much, eventually it will start feeling familiar. And when something feels familiar, it will feel like it's true. Psychologists separate motivation into two categories. The first one is intrinsic motivation, which means to do something because it matters to you, or you connect to the idea itself. And extrinsic motivation, which means to do something because of what you're getting in return. For example, grades, approval, or money. And for me, this didn't come from anything big. It was something normal that happens every day. I was talking to my friend, and they asked me something, and I gave them my opinion. I said it without thinking, but I felt like I had really meant to say that. But later on, when I thought about it, I thought to myself, why did I say that? And that opinion I had said wasn't something I had thought about before saying it. It felt almost automatic. And that made me realize how many things feel like my own opinion, but actually are just based off of something else, or something that you've picked up over time, or seen from someone else, or saw on social media. And I don't think independence means having absolutely no influence. Influence will always be there, but the difference is whether you will notice it or not and what you will do with that. It's not about removing everything around you or total isolation. It's more about noticing what is there. And not all the time, but just enough to understand. Thank you.